Shalom, shalom. Welcome to Supporting Yah's Cornerstone. My name is Heshra, and that name means moved by Yah. In this video, it's going to be a get to know me video. And so I'm going to talk about when I came into this way of life, did I know how to sew? Did I know how to cook? Did I know how to crochet? Did I know how to be an entrepreneur, or did I have any experience with that? Did I have any experience with homeschooling? Was I a teacher, etc., etc.? If you follow Supporting Yah's Cornerstone on Instagram, then lately I've been posting snapshots of my day, showing me doing various things. But did I know how to do a lot of these things before I started living for Yah? So that's the question I'm going to be answering in this get to know me video. So I'll answer them straight from the beginning. Did I know how to sew? No. Did I have any interest in sewing? No. Did I know how to cook? Really, no. I knew some basics, a whole lot of basics, enough to keep me and my son alive. So, did I know how to crochet? No. Did I have any interest in crocheting? No. Was I an entrepreneur before I came into the Hebrew Israelite lifestyle? No. Did I have any interest in being an entrepreneur? No. So those are the answers to those questions. Now, I'll start with the, and before I lived the Hebrew Israelite, before I decided to live for Yah, was I a teacher? Did I have any experience that prepared me for homeschooling? Absolutely not. Okay. Did I have any interest in homeschooling? Absolutely not. So that answers all those questions right out of the gate. So why did I learn how to sew? When and why? I learned how to sew in 1999. At that time, I learned the basics of it. I was taught to sew a basic dress pattern that I had bought because the sister that ended up giving me a couple of lessons at that time in 1999, before she agreed to give me the lessons, because my husband was looking within the group we were in for a sister who knew how to sew and that would agree to teach me how to sew. And so in that time frame before he actually found somebody to agree to it and that knew how to, he had bought me a sewing machine. I had a pattern. I had everything you would need that you would need to learn how to sew or actually know how to sew. So, and I also had a pattern. I had bought a basic dress pattern. It had a bodice with a gather type skirt attached to it. So the sister that agreed to teach me how to sew, she basically took that pattern that I had bought and showed me how to make it. And why did I learn how to sew? Really for a basic reason. My husband wanted me to learn because it would be a more affordable way for us to get into our cultural clothing and at the time. At that time, in the group that we were in, this was in 1999, at the time, the person that was sewing the clothes for a lot of for portions of the group, that sister was charging, she wasn't in the group. She was, I want to say somebody from overseas. I think I don't know. But the person that was sewing the clothes, they were charging $40 for each children's garment and $80 for each adult garment. And the issue became is if you want to wear your cultural fringe clothing every day, then that was a good bit of money. especially for us. And so I remember hearing my husband say to some more brothers, you know what? Because they were all talking about the prices. And my husband said, you know what? I'm just going to wait for my wife to learn how to sew. And at that moment, I heard him say that. My heart just sunk. My mind just sunk because I'm like, I am nowhere near knowing how to sew these clothes. So I thought to myself, wow, you're going to be waiting a long time because I have not a clue. I'm trying as much as I can on my own, but I have no clue. And so that was the basic thing about me learning how to sew. It just was an affordable way for us to get into cultural clothes, and have our fringes and things on, which in that particular group, we learned that we were supposed to have fringes. Before that, we were not wearing them or were where we should be. So, yeah. So that's how I ended up knowing how to sew. Back then, as I was having my children and they were small, I sewed the majority of their clothing. Probably I would say about 60 to 70% of it at that time. And I sold over the years about probably 60% or 50% of my husband's clothing also. So that's how it was, kind of because it was a lot cheaper sometimes for us than purchasing clothing or, at that time, especially at that time, mostly where I got my fabric was from Walmart. And at that time, you could get cotton almost all the time for $1 a yard. I mean, now it's almost impossible. But at that time, you could, so in other words, you could make a whole outfit for maybe like $5, $7, opposed to paying this person to sew it $40 an outfit, So it was a whole lot cheaper for us. Crocheting. Why did I learn to crochet? Basically, I learned to crochet for the same reason I learned to sew, to be able to make the kufis, basically. And it was cheaper, of course, for me to buy the yarn and make them rather than buy them. So, in my family, what we talked about was me having children and staying home with the children and homeschooling. And so a lot of things were done to so that could be financially possible. And also it's a skill that my husband wanted me to also learn. And I'm glad I did learn. So, yeah. But kufis, back to that. So I learned how to crochet so I could make the kufis, which I still do today, mostly for my family. But the young lady who taught me how to make the kufis, that probably was in the early 2000s that I learned how to make the kufis from a young lady. She might not mind me mentioning her name, but her Hebrew name was Nantanella. And she was so sweet. And she knew how to make the kufis, and also she knew how to make the shoes, which they would call echoes. She knew how to make those. And so at first she was going to show me, when my husband talked to her about teaching me how to do it, crochet. At first she said the night that I went there, she said that she started to show me about how to make the shoes, but then she said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make the kufi. That'll be better. And so that night and one other night, she spent showing me how to make the kufi. Keeping in mind, at that time, I had no idea what the stitches were called. And for many years, I did not know what the stitches were called. If you hear a noise in the background, my husband is making a smoothie, and so that's probably what that is. But anyway, it's in another room. I'm in another room with the door closed, but I can still hear it, and you might be able to hear it. So that's what that is if you hear it. But So she started to, but I didn't know the names of the stitches. So I have the instructions that I wrote down, and I was literally calling stitches V's. Okay, that's a stitch, and that's a, I changed the stitch when I see that, and I put one stitch here, two there. but and I wrote down instructions that night. That way, if we moved or something like that, I would still have those instructions, which I still have today. Amazingly, I still have those instructions that I wrote myself. But I did not know the stitches. I didn't know till a few years later that, okay, this is a double stitch I'm doing. This is a single stitch I'm doing, you know. And then it's amazing. Today, yeah, I was even able to do it and not, you know, even know the terms. But I guess thinking back on now, it's more important that I knew how to do it than knowing stitch terms, you know. But because she actually taught me how to do it without me knowing the terms. The stitches I learned from making a kufi also helped me learn how to make fringes later on from yarn. How to crochet the cotton fringes that at one time I was buying from Walmart. Walmart used to sell a beige cotton, 100% cotton fringe. It was basically a band of double stitches with the fringe coming down. And so eventually they stopped selling that. Just so happened in a furniture book that I had, it ended up in showing how to put fringes on pillows. It ended up showing how to crochet this fringe, how to make this band made from double stitches, and how to add a fringe to it. But instead of sewing it on pillows, I was actually sewing it on clothes. So that's also what I ended up making too over the years. From learning how to crochet kufis, I ended up making fringes also from yarn to put on our clothing also. But that's the basic reason I learned how to crochet. It never occurred to me that I would need to know that or that it would be helpful or anything. But I thank y'all. So cooking, I did not know how to cook before I came into this way of life. I knew basic cooking. I'll say that I knew basic cooking, but I learned and got more experience when I started to make the decision to live for the Creator and started on this road. If I look down, I'm just looking down at my notes. And so I learned over time from different people, my husband, cookbooks, some off of YouTube years later, in maybe more recent years, improving on my cooking. Because for a lot of years we didn't have the internet, and so a lot of things I was still using books mostly. We just got the internet on a regular basis probably about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, maybe. Entrepreneurship. I did not have an entrepreneurial mindset before I came into this lifestyle. Even after I came into this lifestyle, I didn't have that. I came from a family that goes to college, you get a skill and you get a good job. That's the background I came from. Every time I would think of running my own business, I literally would think to myself, oh my God, I'm going to be broke. I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. You know, that's just out. That's what I would actually think. I don't know where that mindset came from, but that's what I would think. Oh no, that's not happening. The only way you can pay bills is if you get a job. That was my mindset. But now I know there's nothing, but now I know different than that. I'll put it like that. Keeping in mind that I don't see anything wrong going to college. I went to college 4 years. I have 3 children that's in college. Want to be graduating soon, if y'all will. there's nothing wrong with going to college. There's nothing wrong with being an employee. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to own your own business. So that's not what I'm leading up to saying. But what I have learned is that being an entrepreneur can be a successful option. That you can be successful, that if you don't know or have experience in being an entrepreneur, that you can learn it, because the reality is, in Yah, anything righteous is possible. Yah does not support unrighteousness, but anything within righteousness is possible. And He will grant us the ability to learn if we don't know. So my mindset has changed, and I taught my children that, being an entrepreneur is good. And I tried to show them others that have successfully been entrepreneurs, and that is an option for them. So I'm say about 2 or 3 of them have already had small businesses already. Not huge, but small businesses that they started on their own, or getting their own, creating their own work that they made money at. One of my daughters, I learned how to do a little bit of jewelry, and I taught her, and I learned from somebody for her. So when she was maybe about, I want to say 13 or 14, she was making earrings and bracelets and selling them. So I tried my best not to put my fears on to them. And so I thank y'all that did work, because they didn't have any fears that I was aware of entrepreneurship. So at least 3 of them have had their own small businesses, very, very small, but have done that. So I'm thankful for that. And especially that y'all gave me a mind to not put that fear on them. I don't know where my fear of entrepreneurship came from. I have no idea. And today I'm on my own entrepreneurial journey. It's a slow crawl, but my thinking has come a long way from where it began. From that mindset of, oh my God, I'm going to be broke trying to be an entrepreneur. So my mind has come a long way from that mindset. So I hope you enjoyed this get to know me video, and I hope that it's encouraging to you, that whether it's learning how to sew, whether it's learning how to crochet, whether it's having your own business, that whatever it is, if you don't have experience in it, if you don't know, that you can learn. And as long as whatever you wanting to learn is within righteousness, Yah will support that. He will bring people and things in your life to teach you what you don't know. Never worry about people that you run across that may not teach you what they know, or they may not want to help you in your journey of what you're trying to learn. If you ask Yah and He's okay with it and He wants it for you, He will provide the people and materials for you to learn whatever it is. So don't feel bad. We all come from different backgrounds. We're not going to always know everything about everything, but you can learn. So be encouraged in that. And Yah will support you in any righteousness goals that you have. And I thought it was important for you to know. You may be following me on Instagram and see me doing this or see me doing that because I show a snapshot of my day. No, I did not know certain things all my life. I've homeschooled for almost 2 decades. But no, I was not a teacher. No, I was not. I've been sewing for almost 2 decades. No, I was not a seamstress. I think that's important. If I can learn, you can learn. Whatever it is, as long as it's within righteousness. Thank you for your time. If you'd like to contact me, you can contact me at yahscornerstone@gmail.com. yahscornerstone@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Supporting Yah's Cornerstone. There's also a Facebook page called Supporting Yah's Cornerstone also. And you can also leave comments at the bottom of these videos. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share the channel. If you're on Facebook, please share those videos, share these videos, share the channel. I want to try to help as many sisters as possible. And the more the word spreads, I know that can be done. So whoever needs these videos, then it'll be there for them. Thank you for your time. Shalom, shalom.